Area police departments routinely train on how to respond when there's an active shooter.
The chief of Brentwood's police department says it's sometimes difficult to determine when it's best for police to go in or negotiate from a distance. 5 on your sides, Brent Solomon joins us now with what else he had to say. Brent.
Well, I just got back from speaking with Chief Joseph Spees. He says you may think it's easy to know what to do when there's danger, but sometimes there's no clear-cut formula for an officer to always take. In fact, Brentwood officers were in the middle of a 5-week active shooter training when last week's tragedy in Texas struck. The chief says when an officer rushes to the scene, he or she must take into account what they've learned from dispatchers, witnesses, and what that officer observes on the scene to determine whether to confront the suspect. In some cases, he says confronting the suspect could result in the shooter killing hostages. In other cases, he says an officer should act right away if there's already active gunfire. Chief Spees says he's studied hospital shootings in the past and the people who've carried them out.
They've ranged from people that were suicidal to people who were going to kill a spouse and then kill themselves, angry at a physician, angry at a nurse, just flat out mental illness.
The chief also encourages companies to identify employees who they believe may be at risk of acting out. He says businesses can work with police to come up with a prevention plan. Brentwood Police has a sergeant trained in workplace violence prevention who will work directly with companies that ask for the department's help. Meantime, if you're ever there when an active shooter strikes, Chief Spees says you should do one of 3 things: run, hide, or fight. The decision on which one to do varies from person to person.